Recent international surveys suggest Pakistan may have untapped oil and gas reserves that could transform its economy. But what's the reality behind these claims? How much potential exists, and what challenges remain? Let's analyze the data. 1. Current energy landscape. Pakistan produces between 70,000 to 90,000 barrels of oil per day against a demand of 400,000 barrels. So it meets just 20% of its requirements domestically. The rest is imported. In the last 10 years, Pakistan has spent over $200 billion on energy import. It's a heavy burden on the economy. And this is despite the fact that Pakistan has made some major discoveries in the past. For example, the Kekra-1 offshore project found in 2011. It holds around 1.8 billion barrels of oil equivalent. Production from this field could be around 60,000 barrels per day at its peak. But Pakistan has yet to develop this field. Why? Because it lacks the resources and expertise for offshore drilling. But it's not giving up. In 2019, the government launched a drive to find oil and gas. It set up a petroleum exploration company, a state-owned enterprise. Its job is to find investors for Pakistan's energy sector. 2 years later, the company released a report. It says Pakistan has potentially recoverable oil reserves of 5.8 billion barrels and natural gas of 51.5 trillion cubic feet. Now this includes both onshore and offshore sites. Let's first look at the onshore ones. There are 3 main sites, each with multiple areas for exploration. Number 1, Sindh Province, Dadu and Tar, where 1.5 billion barrels of oil and 43.2 trillion cubic feet of natural gas have been identified. Dadu has already produced 30,000 barrels per day, so there's potential here. Secondly, Kapeka Karak. Here, the survey suggests there's tight gas and tight crude oil. Tight gas is a type of natural gas that's trapped in low permeability rock formations. It makes extraction more difficult, but not impossible. Lastly, Punjab, the Rawalpindi and Chakwal areas have also shown potential. All these sites were identified using 2D seismic data, but there's one area that has shown even more promise: the Salman Fold Belt. This area stretches from the Solomon Mountains in Baluchistan to the based in Sindh. Recent geological surveys suggest it has huge potential for tight gas and crude oil. It could hold up to 1.96 billion barrels of oil and 10 trillion cubic feet of gas. What about offshore potential? We know that Pakistan has a coastline of 1,046 kilometers and an exclusive economic zone of 24,000 square kilometers. But how much of this has been explored? Well, according to the Petroleum Exploration Company, 4 offshore blocks have been identified for oil and LNG. They lie within the Indus Basin and they're being studied using 3D seismic data. The company says the results are encouraging. In fact, there's so much interest in these blocks that many international players are now involved. US firms like Russian companies like Zerubezhneft and even Turkish energy giants like TPO have been exploring these areas. They're conducting their own seismic surveys to better understand the structures and possibilities. So it seems like things are moving in the right direction. By 2025, Pakistan plans to offer 12 sites for international investors, including the ones we discussed today. If all goes well, then Pakistan could become a net energy exporter. It would get a lot of foreign investment and much needed tax revenue. But let's talk about the road ahead. Is it smooth? Well, not quite. The biggest challenge remains the technical one. Pakistan has no experience with offshore drilling. Sure, it has the Kekra discovery, but that was made by a foreign company. Developing that site will require specialized equipment and expertise. Just think about it. Drilling platforms, subsea pipelines, and specialized ships are all needed. Can Pakistan assemble these resources quickly? Also, can it ensure the safety of such operations? After all, we're talking about extracting oil offshore, which is inherently risky. Then there's the question of time. When will this revenue start flowing in? Well, if we go by history, probably not anytime soon. Usually, it takes 7 to 10 years to develop an offshore oil field. And in Pakistan's case, given the technical challenges, it could take even longer. A more realistic timeline would be 2028 to 29. Lastly, let's talk about the numbers because they can be quite deceptive. Pakistan's total proven oil reserves are currently around 178 billion barrels. So, the 5.8 billion barrels that have been discovered recently represent just 3% of the total. Also, consider the gas reserves. Pakistan currently has around 6.5 trillion cubic feet of proven gas reserve. The newly discovered ones would add about 80% to these existing reserves. That's a lot, yes, but still not enough to make Pakistan a major player. Remember, Saudi Arabia alone has gas reserves of 345 trillion cubic feet. So while the potential is significant, success depends on investment, technology, and most importantly, transparency. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more fact-based analysis. This is Rana Asif. Thanks for watching.